Real Nerds is a proud partner of the Denver Podcast Network. In the shadow of the mountains,
we speak. Coming to you from the X-Axis, it's John of All Trades with your host, John X.
Welcome to this John of All Trades podcast promo. Each Wednesday, I bring you a brand new interview with someone fascinating and ask the question we all ask when we meet someone new. Hey, what do you do? It's fun, informative, and it's the 2017 Westward Reader's Choice Award winner for Best Denver Podcast. iTunes, Stitcher, and johnofalltrades.us.
Oh, hi, podcast listeners. There's many ways you can listen to the Real Nerds podcast. You can subscribe on iTunes. You can also subscribe on Stitcher Radio. You want to send us a Twitter message? You can do that. It's so easy, at Real Nerds. Like us on Facebook, Real Nerds Podcast. You can visit our website, realnerdspodcast.com, where there'll be a lot of articles for you to not only read, but to listen to our previous shows. You can also call us, 720-6nerds5. Thanks for listening, and enjoy the show.
Hi, this is Brian. No, this is my announcer voice, and you're listening to Real Nerds Podcast. Should I do this as my real self? Oh, shucky darn. Hi, this is Brian Cummings. You're listening to Real Nerds Podcast. Okay, do it straight. Hi, this is Brian Cummings, and actually you are listening to Real Nerds Podcast. Send money. And real estate.
Welcome to Real Nerds Podcast, unofficially the official podcast of Denver Pop Culture Con 2019 and beyond. I am Zach, and with me is
Brad.
And every week on Real Nerds Podcast, we go in and see a new movie and podcast our experience to the world. This week we saw David Gordon Green's Halloween. Or did we? No, we didn't. Brad, what did we see?
Well, unfortunately, Ryan had a last-minute cancellation, so we're going to review that next week instead, and this week we're going to change it up, and it's actually going to be Bad Times at the El Royale, which is the movie I saw.
And I did not, because I'm an asshole.
No, you just, you followed the plan. The second plan, which is now, this is the third plan.
Is it a simple plan? Clearly not, because
it's confusing.
It is not Sam Raimi's homage to the Coen brothers, A Simple Plan. Which is one of Ryan's favorite films from 1998. So listen to our film Explosion 98, guys. But we also
thanks for telling me that the trailers were missing on a couple of those.
Oh, that's for 2008.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's the 2008 one. I know I listened to it when I edited it.
Yeah,
but I listened to it now that it's actually on Stitcher. And I missed like 3 trailers, or I didn't cut one off properly. So
one was Strangers and one was Frost Nixon.
Yeah,
but I can't remember the other one, if there was another one. So
it was Doubt had like what takes so long about doing Film Explosions is that I have to download trailers from YouTube, and often fans make their own trailers. So I have to like QC the trailers I download, and some of them are 2 minutes, some of them are 5 minutes long. And that's a lot of extra time that I don't want to spend watching trailers when I could be editing. So I sometimes just kind of throw caution to the wind and put the most complete-looking one that I scrubbed through up, and I miss Doubt's extra, entire finale scene added to that trailer for some reason.
Pull a prank and do a super trailer if we ever talk about Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Super trailers.
Feel free to let me know. When it shows edited improperly, I rushed home and fixed it. So
yeah, I noticed it, but I was like, maybe it's wrong, something wrong with my player. And then I re-listened to it again like a couple days ago, and I'm like, no, it's not.
Yeah,
because I listen to them normally when I'm at work, and then sometimes I'm just moving so fast at work that I'm like, I'm not really noticing if. But that's not all we talk about. We also talk about movie news, what we've been watching, DVD releases and Blu-rays. And every week we go around town with a sexy stud named Brad. Brad, what's going on around town?
Hey, film buddies, follow me around Denver.
The the sexiest midnight showing ever, the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Oh, shit, son.
Is Friday and Saturday, October 26th and 27th at the Esquire.
Hey, it's just a sweet transvestite from transsexual Transylvania. I don't think we have the rights to that.
They're also doing a Wednesday, October 31st. So it's actually 3 nights this week and into next.
Yeah, because that Halloween show always sells out. It's a big, big thing.
Big deal.
Yeah. Have you ever seen it at midnight?
I don't think I think I've only seen it on DVD. I'd never done the midnight screening.
I'd love to do it, but I'd love to. I mean, I love the participation element, but I'd also like to watch it on a theater. I love both experiences. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, I love the movie though. I've seen it on DVD. It's a funny ass flick with Tim Curry in probably one of the 2 defining roles of his career.
Yeah,
that and Clue.
It's not one of my favorite things, but he's definitely iconic.
But Clue is a favorite thing.
It is. And then November 2nd and 3rd, the following weekend, is the Jurassic Park at midnight. So just letting you know in case this episode is not timely.
How did they get Jurassic Park? I'll show you.
Someone should, every time you walk into the theater that night, welcome to Jurassic Park.
But they'd have to do it for every person that comes in, so it wouldn't feel special.
But that's why it would be funny.
Oh, God. They have to keep playing the theme each time. At some point, someone's just going to go insane and be like, I can't take John Williams anymore.
And then at the drive-in is, so far as I know, it's still House with a Clock on its Walls, Halloween, the new one, and Venom. So
I want to see 2 of those at a drive-in if you're interested sometime this week.
I'm going to go tomorrow night because I have tickets to a haunted house at the flea market, and that'll last 15 minutes, of course, because haunted houses are not long. And then it's a quick jaunt over to the drive-in.
All right, we're talking about this after the show.
I missed a little bit of Clock on the Walls, but
hey, you got a clock on your walls there, man. You might want to scrape it off.
Yeah, who do I call to get this clock out of the walls? Like rats in here.
Got to call Eli Roth. He's the expert, clearly.
What else? What else is going around town?
Anything going on at the Bug Theater?
Yeah.
I know Cannibal the Musical sold out.
The show sold out, but no one showed up for the movie, you fuckers.
Oh.
So thanks for that. Way to let me down, everybody. Sorry, I'm just bringing up my calendar.
You just have this image in your head of Brad crying alone in the Bug Theater as Cannibal the Musical's playing in the background.
Wednesday at the Alamo, actually. Steve hosts a movie game show or roundtable discussion.
It's a talk show called Splice It.
Splice It, yeah.
Where he is. It's not really Steve so much as his puppet counterpart. He uses a puppet to do it.
Steve lost his mind.
I don't know.
Is that what this is?
I don't know about that.
He cry for help.
He seemed pretty calm and rested when we saw Slice. So, no, it's like a Muppet version that somebody made for him, and he uses it for the talk show. And it sounds pretty cool. I haven't had a chance to go see it yet, but
yeah. Well, you have a chance on Wednesday, and
woohoo!
Just saying, the real nerds are always available for these things.
Yeah, exactly. We'll come over and talk to you to Puppet Steve.
I'll talk to your puppet. And then
sounds so dirty.
Also at the Alamo on Friday, Mile High Movie Roast is doing Jason Lives,
which Ryan would not like.
It's his favorite Jason, and maybe he does take it seriously. Like that movie's precious, too precious to roast. But if they did Ninja Turtles 1, I would embrace it.
Yeah, exactly. You got to embrace it. I love the original Halloween, but the Riff Tracks crew did a version of the original Halloween, and it's pretty fucking funny.
Yeah,
they did one on Casablanca too, which is surprisingly hilarious.
It's okay to laugh at yourself.
Oh yeah, exactly. Or the things you love, you know.
Yeah, I think that's it. That's all that's going around in town right now.
Awesome. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and spin some real news.
It's real news.
This is actually kind of follow-up from our last week's episode. First Man apparently performed poorly at the box office, so much so that Universal had to make a statement about it. I think this is just people on the internet freaking out for no reason, and then Universal dumbly responding to it. But they said that it's a wonderful film that's going to perform strongly in the coming months, and it will have a strong domestic run that it so richly deserves.
Yeah, I saw it again today. So
Yeah, so again, like, guys, just because it doesn't meet a certain number doesn't mean
they thought Greatest Showman was a bomb, and then it had like legs for months.
Well, it's mainly because of that soundtrack too.
Yeah.
But with First Man, like, it's an awards film. Like, it's going to have some form of legs unless it somehow doesn't get a nomination, which Damien Chazelle's behind the film, so I'm assuming he's going to be a lock for some form of recognition.
I think the word of mouth on it will be pretty good because, like, I took my mom today and she was blown away. So
yeah. Well, anyway, we'll see what happens. I mean, I think it's going to do fine, especially with that IMAX thing. I don't know how long it'll stay in IMAX though, because we've got other things coming out in IMAX. Did you know there was going to be a Rambo versus Monster movie?
I read that. Yeah.
Yeah. Now they're going to make it its own thing with Stallone still starring.
I thought that was just. It was an idea before Last Blood.
That was what it was going to be like around 2009 and whatnot. That's what they were thinking about doing.
But now they're going to do both?
Now they're doing that other Rambo movie, but now they're doing this other thing where he's not going to be Rambo. He's just going to be a monster hunter, which either way sounds cool because it's Stallone fighting a monster. This is the one thing he hasn't done yet in his career as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, like the plot synopsis of the book, which was supposed to be based on, called Hunter. Hunter is the ultimate tracker, the world's best. If you're lost, Hunter can find you, whether you want him to or not. So already it sounds like a Stallone character that you can get behind. Hunter is particular about the searches he takes on. So when the military men seeking his help are very secretive about the mission they're recruiting him for, Hunter's instincts tell him to refuse. But there is a beast loose somewhere in the north of the Arctic Circle, and it's already charged through a secret research facility, wiping out the entire military squad that hadn't been guarding him.
Let's move along.
Long story short, he's going to fight a monster in the snow.
All right.
Sounds fun. I'm down for that. We're going to get an NYPD Blue reboot, apparently, and all I want to know is which actor's ass are we going to see. Moving on. I mean, it's got to be a bald
guy.
You
said it, not me.
It's got to be a bald guy. So, I mean, hey. A Quiet Place sequel will be written by John Krasinski, so that's cool.
Makes sense.
He didn't write the original one on his own, did he? I think
so. The script is like 3 pages because there's no dialogue. It's all stage directions.
It's more than 3 pages. I don't think it's going to go past 60, but unless the plot of this film is that they learn how to use their voice to speak in defiance against the monsters. Doesn't make sense. I don't know.
Maybe the monsters themselves.
I don't know. I'm not a Quiet Place expert. I liked the film a lot, though. Jungle Cruise got moved from the fall of 2019 to the summer of 2020, so sure, something's going on. Maybe. I don't know. Luke Cage is canceled at Netflix, so is it just Jessica Jones and Daredevil left?
Yeah, that was a bit of a shocker because I thought that was actually a hit, and I think it's just because Marvel is starting to consolidate on their app, the Disney app. So
yeah,
eventually, I think Jessica and Daredevil will be also taking a hike.
Because they didn't say if Luke Cage, they just say it's canceled at Netflix. They didn't say if it's moving to the Disney Disney service.
But it seems pretty obvious because I don't think Luke Cage season 3 was in production yet, so. I think Jessica Jones is, and it's ready to air soon. And obviously Daredevil just premiered. So I think Daredevil season 4 will get the axe. And then once Jessica Jones airs, that'll be it.
Cool. On a Netflix-related note, if you like Orange is the New Black, the next season will be its last. So sorry, guys. I don't know what else to tell you.
So I watched the first seasons. It's a good run.
Yeah, I watched the first season, and then I was okay with it, but I didn't bother to go any further with it. So...
Because you don't like women.
That is untrue. I saw a great movie about women this week twice, and it was so great, in fact, that it made $77.5 million in its opening weekend, which is great for an R-rated horror movie. I'm talking about
Venom.
I'm talking about Halloween. Shut up. That dumb movie. That Eminem song still pisses me off. That was the whole movie was like whatever it was, but then that song hit, and I was in the theater with James at the Alamo, and like I didn't make a fuss or anything, but I just like got up and bolted, and he could tell I was pissed.
Yeah, well, live.
Yeah, I know, But anyway, yeah, Halloween, the reboot that we'll talk about next week, with more fan fervor, I'm sure, with Ryan in attendance, made a shit ton of money, which is great for an R-rated horror movie in October. Like, I guess, period, and let alone the fact that the main star is a 59-year-old woman, which is like a great record breaker in and of itself. We'll talk more about it next week. I won't tell you what I thought yet.
Although it's pretty obvious.
Is it, though?
Yes.
All right, and that's news.
Before you move on, we should address two things. Henry, get well, man.
Yeah, no, yeah. Apparently, Henry hurt his neck.
He suffered a blow to the head on he's recording sound on set at school in New York. And the next thing he knows, he's waking up in the hospital. And as far as we know, he hasn't told us much since I contacted him once I saw his image on Instagram. But it's just something hit him on the head.
He's got nerve damage now, though, as a result, or something.
Yeah. But yeah, I think the neck brace is a precaution. But yeah, he has nerve damage, and once he feels better, I want to ask him if he still prefers art house movies over mainstream movies. So we'll really know how damaged he is.
I'm sorry. That's a great notion to think in your head. I mean, like, obviously, yes, get well, Henry, but we do have to perform that test on you.
That's almost like
just put a bunch of
movie.
Put a bunch of flashcards with different movie posters on them and see which ones he likes.
Okay, I'm holding up a poster of Bad Boys 2.
And Daniel Blake.
Which one do you prefer? Like a Rorschach test?
He just eats both.
He just starts freaking out, like once the art house one comes up, like, sedate him. Can't handle it.
I'm trying to think of, like, he just goes into a corner and starts balling up.
Then some Dr. Loomis style character comes in and starts talking about how screwed up he is.
I met him 5 years ago. I was told he couldn't podcast. No conscience, no reason, no love for the films of Ingmar Bergman, any rudimentary sense of art house awareness.
But seriously, I'm glad you're okay, Henry.
Get well, Henry.
For the most part.
Seriously, no, that sucks. Like, you don't want to just, like, suddenly have something hit you and then wake up, like, not knowing what happened. You know, that's fucking scary shit, man. So, Henry, please get better. Get back over here so we can record all that cool jazz. Keep making films too, obviously, because I mean, he's the most talented out of all of us guys. I don't know if you know this,
and except for Brad. And then the other thing is, we have a new website design.
We do, and it looks fucking awesome. Congratulations on the hard work you put into that.
Well, if you call hard work buying a template and then implementing it, yeah.
That's hard work. It requires you spending the money you also worked hard to get.
Yeah, I spent $60 and then sat on it for a year because I couldn't figure out how it worked. Every time, man, those templates, like, they show you the demo, and then it's like, it's easy, just install it. And then it doesn't look like anything you expected, and then you have to freaking troubleshoot.
It just, like, it's coded like the Matrix.
But so it's a little incomplete for a little while, and some things are rearranged. So bear with me as I re-upload like 300 plus episodes to a certain new file structure for it, and the articles are a little out of place.
I know. Yeah, I could tell. I did change my bio on that, though, because my old bio was so self-serving and obnoxious. So I was just like, let's change this to something more realistic.
Yeah, you got a new picture, too.
Yeah, no, I appreciated that, too.
Yeah.
It's going to look weird when people see me and they're like, you're not that fat anymore. I'm like, I'm still pretty fat.
I know, like, your old picture was you skinny, like, next to the ocean,
and now it's a big face, and then now, like, I mean, I've been trying to lose weight, and I've gotten 50 pounds down from where I was in April. So, like, my face is no longer as poofy, and I've also made some other health choices within life within that. So, as a result, everything changes. But I need to now maybe stop so I don't become unrecognizable to other people. Not even just with this podcast, but just like people I know in general, because I don't want to freak them out. But cool. Awesome. Yeah, check out that new website. It looks fucking awesome. The picture you took of it with the Ryan Gosling in the background was fucking
Yeah.
Brilliant
This
way to
week
promote
we'll
that.
have, I don't know, the cast of Bad Times. Should we do mail?
Yes, we should do fan mail.
Fan mail!
Not so much fan mail this week, though, as it is correspondent email, because Corinne's a correspondent at this point, I would assume.
True.
Yeah.
She has recently started a Catching the Classics segment. Maybe we should throw a little jingle in there for her.
Catching up with the classics with Corinne.
I was thinking stock music or something, but yeah. So yeah, she actually sent this one last week. There's two. This one was from last week, and I bonehead forgot about it. But she promised she was going to watch Scarface. So this week, she is recapping her experience with Scarface. Hey nerds. So, quick recap for anyone who didn't listen last week. I'm watching a bunch of famous and popular movies that I've never seen before and sending in my review. Last week I covered Steel Magnolias. This week, Scarface, 1983.
Oh, boy.
Now, I knew a lot more about Scarface going into the movie than I did with Steel Magnolias. I, of course, knew the famous line, "Say hello to my little friend," that it was about a cocaine kingpin in Miami and that Al Pacino was in it. I know it's an incredibly popular movie, especially among men. Very true. But I personally wasn't a fan of it. I do think there are a lot of elements about it that are very well crafted. I think Pacino's performance was excellent, especially considering how much of the movie he had to carry. We saw every aspect of Tony, broken and scared, desperate and ambitious, arrogant and vicious, and soft and vulnerable. There were also some sequences, especially towards the end, that expertly built up the tension. The scene where they're driving in NYC stands out to me. I also appreciated a lot of the unique camera movements, which were enough to engage you, but not so frequent that they annoyed or overwhelmed you. I also thought the guy who played Manny did an excellent job, and I loved Tony's mom. She was probably my favorite character, and I wish we would have spent more time with her. There were also a few moments that made me laugh out loud, to the point where parts of the movie felt like a dark comedy.
Wait, stop. Is one of them, "Why don't you fuck me, Tony?" God, that fucking movie.
Yeah,
Anyway,
it's
go on.
hilarious. However, this movie feels incredibly long. It's nearly 3 hours, true, and I know that's not as long as the Lord of the Ring movies, but I actually care about these characters. Here, everyone's kind of a douchebag, and I know they're all going to die at the end, so I'm not as invested in their journey as, say, Frodo's. I didn't realize the movie started with us seeing Tony after he first comes to the U.S. and gets his start in the drug biz. I thought we were going to get introduced to him as a kingpin already. But of the movie's 3 sections, I enjoyed the middle one the most. Seeing him go from Frank's inner circle to kingpin was the most interesting than watching him go from immigrant to flunky or watching his inevitable downfall in the third act. Mm-hmm. True. I agree. Additionally, compared to today's culture, this movie feels incredibly dated when it comes to portraying people of color and handling its female characters.
Yeah. Why don't you fuck me, Tony?
Yeah, Cuban face, I guess.
Yeah, amongst other things.
Yeah. Puerto Rican face.
Yeah. Like I said, amongst other things.
I was blown away by how underdeveloped Elvira's character is. That's Michelle Pfeiffer, right?
I believe. Yeah, I don't remember their names.
When Tony is working for Frank, she rejects Tony multiple times and doesn't seem at all interested in him. And yet she ends up marrying the guy for some reason.
Yeah.
Why? Was it for his money, for the cocaine, or being so unhappy in her first marriage to a drug lord? What was she expecting would be different with the other? I felt like she was just there to be arm candy. I actually think that is the point.
Yeah, it's just she's a mall, which is not a. It's a term about like the mobster's girlfriend, but like the malls in traditional gangster films back in the day were not necessarily like the most rounded out characters.
Yeah.
Whereas in Goodfellas you have Karen, who's not a mall but operates in that function, but is much more fleshed out.
I think the point is that
these
types of characters in these...
There's no development for them. They're just there.
Yeah, they never learn anything. That's the point. It's like in real life. No one ever goes, oh, I am... Maybe drugs isn't the way to go.
Right, no, yeah.
They usually end up dead.
Some malls do, but like more often than not, you have that one like girlfriend character who's just there. You know, there's no like reason other than to maybe have an intense scene.
And Tony's sister. I thought this I thought his behavior toward her seemed overly creep and borderline incestual, so I'm glad she called him out on that.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I think that's the point.
Again, back to that line I said 2 times. This movie's weird.
Anyway, I can see why people, men especially, seem to like this movie. It's a modern-day adaptation of the Greek tragic hero, but with a shit ton of drugs and violence. Again, it's not for me, but it's definitely made an impact on pop culture, and that makes it at least worth checking out. Scarface, 1983. 3 out of 5 stars. Thanks again. Next week, I plan on sending my review of Jurassic Park. And that'll bring us to her review, unless you have something more to say about Scarface.
I just wanted to say, like, she's absolutely right. That film is absolutely fucking... I love Brian De Palma, but that film is just a fucking mess. I remember seeing it when I was 13, and I just like didn't like it. But you should watch the original Scarface, Corinne, from the 1930s with Paul Muni. That film is brilliantly executed and well structured, and doesn't have weird incest plots.
I'm fine with it. I'm not like so impressed with it that I need to put the poster on my wall in college. But
I thought Pacino was annoying in that movie. Even that far back, I was just like, I don't like this.
I did not expect his accent. And
again, keeping him
after 3 hours, you settle into it.
Yeah, and keeping in mind, like I had seen that first Scarface before I'd seen Pacino's Scarface, so I was already tainted in that regard and liking one over the other.
Hey nerds, psych. This is actually 2.5, so there's no Jurassic Park. This is actually a quick double feature for you and the listeners because I needed to tackle a movie this week, but it was one I think I've already seen before, so it wouldn't technically count towards my series. After watching Scarface last week, I decided to spend the additional buffer week with Blazing Saddles.
Ooh!
I'm 90% sure I've seen it before, but couldn't quite remember as it's probably been 10 plus years.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, a very good movie.
Yep.
It took a while to get going, as the first 20 to 30 minutes seemed kind of slow. Valid.
No.
But once Bart shows... Nope, you're wrong. But once Bart shows up to town, I think that's where it really kicks off. I loved how he got an opportunity to outwit his antagonists rather than just beating them down with pure brawn. It was a nice change of pace. And I love the ending. That fight/dance scene is hilarious, and probably my favorite part. Blazing Saddles, 4 out of 5 stars. Okay, next week I'll review Jurassic Park.
Slow or amazing, because there's some really funny jokes in the first 20 minutes of that movie. I think slow, in your mind, means dumb, and you're wrong. I don't know. I love.
You don't know what I think.
Mel Brooks, the comic genius. When he dies, the world dies in terms of laughter. Anyway, cool, Corinne. I can't wait to. She's never seen Jurassic Park. That's weird. It feels weird, at least.
I think she has.
Oh, she's just reviewing the quote unquote the AFI kind of like vibe. So
let me go back to. I think it's.
I
Like
thought it
stuff
was.
She hasn't watched in a while that she's catching. Like it's catching.
Oh, okay. Well, then there you go. No, that's totally valid. Because I think she said she had seen Steel Magnolias before. Or wait, maybe I'm thinking wrong. I don't know.
I think that just happens to be one she's never seen.
Oh, okay.
No, you're right. She's never seen that. She's never seen Jurassic Park. All right. Wow.
Mm.
Wow.
Well, good. Just see that one and ignore the others.
Corinne, next weekend or next weekend, November 2nd and 3rd, see it at the Esquire midnight.
Yeah, there you
with
go.
a crowd in the theater. It'll feel like you were in 1993 again.
Yeah, we'll make the ushers change their clothing to period appropriate. Hey, Esquire employee, you want $50? Put on this Hawaiian shirt.
I don't think they had 5.1 back then, so it might even be in stereo.
Oh, yeah. And also it'll be a digital print. She'll be like, wait a minute, this isn't on film, and then walk out. Cool, right on. Well, thank you, Corinne. Now we're going to move into some Blu-ray releases.
DVD releases and Blu-rays.
We are getting the Blu-ray release of Sorry to Bother You, which you and I have both seen. I liked it. You were not as positive on it.
Not enough to buy it.
Not enough to. Okay, fair enough. I thought,
or at least not right away.
Yeah. Also, Community: The Complete Series on Blu-ray. Didn't that already come out a couple weeks ago?
It keeps getting pushed around, so.
Okay, so then as of now, it's coming out, guys.
Yep.
Also, the unrated cut of the Evil Dead remake, aka just Evil Dead, which was a source of controversy when it first came out on home video because they had an unrated cut, but then it got leaked, and then they just decided they weren't going to release it. So now you can get the unrated cut of Evil Dead. Shout Factory is putting out Get Shorty on a collector's edition, which is a fun film. I recommend you check it out. And then Scream Factory is putting out Creep Show, the George A. Romero Stephen King mashup. It's a good film. I will definitely be picking that one up. Also in the Stephen King realm, Maximum Overdrive on Vestron releases. That movie's fucking nuts. And Criterion's putting out Sisters, which is an early Brian De Palma film. So if you haven't seen that, you can check it out.
Brian De Palma, director of Scarface.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So if you've seen Scarface and you're like, I want a more feminine touch, watch Sisters. It's a good early film of his, not a masculine-driven piece of crap. On the new release front, though, Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again, the sequel to 2008's Mamma Mia, is coming out on Blu-ray, so you can...
As a sing-along edition.
Oh, God, fuck. Goodbye rest of the week. And then we're also getting a re-release of Tom Savini's Night of the Living Dead from 1990, which I don't see what company is putting it out, but yeah, it's a pretty good flick. I know Ryan's more keen on it than I am, but I haven't watched it in a while, and the last time I watched it was like in a VHS. Also, Twilight's coming to 4K, guys, so yeah, if you want
all of them.
If you want glittery vampires and even more glittery than they were the first time, check that out.
All of them. All four of them.
But I think the biggest new release that is coming out, it says here, is Christopher Robin on 4K. That doesn't seem right, but it's there on the listing for October 23rd. So
it's not on digital bits, but
then maybe it's a mistake, and maybe Blu-ray.com needs to get their act together.
You know what was weird is last week I didn't see Ash vs. Evil Dead, the complete series, in stores.
I did. That bobblehead's there.
Okay.
Yeah, there were 2 copies of it at South Glen today. Also, if you guys have been clamoring to see the other 4 Scorpion King movies, you can check them out in the 5-pack of the Scorpion King movie collection on Blu-ray. I'm not going to do that. And, yeah, that's Blu-rays.
I see a Celebrating Mickey thing.
That's the one that Ryan was telling me doesn't have a bunch on it. It's just like this. It's like the equivalent of those cheapo Looney Tunes DVDs you get for $5.
Yeah. Oh, I'm seeing a thing called Snake Outta Compton here. And I only bring that up because the Bug Theater is actually going to screen that movie. I think the 30th.
Nice. Awesome.
So Tim Johnson, who's 1/4 of the band Bolognium, which is a band with Richard Taylor, who has been on the show before. Tim Johnson wrote this movie.
Really?
And it got produced, and the trailer's nuts, and he wanted to share it with Denver. So make sure you come out and check it out.
Sweet.
October 30th, the Bug Theater. I think it's free.
Ooh, hot damn.
Yeah. Concessions aren't free, though.
What the hell, Alex? All right, cool. That's Blu-rays. Unless you see one more thing that I missed.
There's a Steelbook, I think, Night of the Demons for Shout Factory.
Oh, yeah. And if you had pre-ordered it a couple months back, you could get a cool, creepy doll. I've never seen Night of the Demons, but...
Me neither.
Anyway, I mean, Scream Factory is a label that I trust, so maybe I'll check it out at some point. I can't afford them at mass like Ryan can, apparently, so... yeah, cool. All right.
You're leading this thing, man.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot. I'm sorry. I'm so used to you leading it when it's just the two of us. This week we're gonna we're gonna move on to what we've been watching.
So, yeah, this is the stuff we've been watching.
Again, it's all throwing me off, man. Brad, what did you watch this week?
Quite a few things. I guess I'll start with the newest thing I watched, which the second series of Making a Murderer has dropped on Netflix.
How was it?
You know, it's been 3 years since the first one, and I always wondered...
And you miss those characters so much.
And I wondered, you know, the first one deals with like 30 years of this guy's life.
Right.
Across, 10 episodes?
Mm-hmm.
You know, 3 years, what story can they possibly tell that's compelling?
Well, there is a bunch that's happened since that series too. So
clearly, because I saw it, I was going to talk about it.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
If you thought season 1 was nuts, the past 3 years have been crazy too. The amazing thing is he has a new defense lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
Stephen Avery does. A foundation for I forget the name of it, but they're taking care of Brendan Dassey's situation. So every episode is about half Stephen Avery, half Brendan Dassey. But Stephen Avery's new lawyer is like the Mythbusters of crime solving.
Okay.
All the stuff of like, why didn't they do this? Why didn't they do that? She addresses, and she'll actually do the experiments to show like she's basically trying to recreate the actual crime. The main hiccup is, and I'm not going to talk too much because like the mystery is amazing, and I don't want to spoil it for you, but her situation and a little bit of Brendan Dassey is the conflict is fighting the courts and trying to get retrials or anything to expose the new evidence. That's the main difficulty, is showing the new evidence, and the new evidence is just like mind blowing.
Mm-hmm.
The cover-ups and like the whodunits, and it's just you got to watch it.
Yeah, I saw the first one on your guys' recommendation, and I guess the rest of Pop Culture's as well. And I liked it. I don't know why it didn't hit me the same way it hit others. I think it's probably because I was so into that West Memphis 3 case and the documentaries that they made out of them that I was like, I've seen this before, or this kind of story before. But it is an interesting case, and one that is interesting to look at. So if part 2 is that good as you say, then I definitely got to check it out. I know a couple of people on Instagram who are just like already thumbing through it. So
yeah, I think my favorite part is how the new lawyer like breaks down the scenes and actually does the experiments to test all the variable possibilities that could happen. And
it sounds very similar to what Paradise Lost 2 does, where they because that film is filled with people trying to go through forensic evidence to figure out if they could even be remotely related to the crime. And there's a lot of stuff about bite marks in that film. But anyway, cool. Right on.
And then, of course, I'm trying to do my 31 days of horror movies.
I know.
A little behind. So hopefully I make that goal. But I rewatched the 2003 Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Still pretty good. What I haven't seen... What?
Marcus Nispel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I haven't seen before is the original Wolfman.
Oh, you watched the black and white movie?
I did.
How bored were you?
I recognize its place in the pantheon of film history, but that acting style from that time, man, I'm just not.
Clearly, because you didn't like Maltese Falcon either.
They're not people who reel me in with.
Stop there. They're not people.
They're not people. I just can't get into their story.
Yeah,
the atmosphere is great. I love the moodiness of it, but it just feels like people are just reading lines to me. They're just saying the lines on the page.
Majority of the actors back in the day were primarily theater, so
I know.
It could seem like that.
I know.
However, you're wrong.
Thankfully, Steven Spielberg and Martin Scorsese came along and pulled the camera from behind.
Well, if you listen to James, Martin Scorsese had nothing to do with it. Yeah. No, I mean, like it's not for those Universal monster movies are not for everybody. Like you definitely have to have grown up with them to appreciate them.
Yeah.
Like on the above the level that you already did. So.
Admittedly, I was half working on stuff too, so my full attention was applied to it. But again, like Making a Murder, I'm working and I'm constantly looking up and actually watching the thing and losing time.
Right.
Whereas Wolfman, I'm just like, I'm listening to it.
Did you have it on DVD or Blu-ray?
I have it on DVD. It's actually part of a collection. So the other thing I watched was Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman.
With Bela Lugosi as Frankenstein's monster.
Actually, Bela Lugosi's in the Wolfman. He's like some...
Yeah, he's the
right?
he's the Gypsy Bela who's like, no, you go, now, go.
It's a crossover.
Yeah.
And again, like that's kind of the same situation, but again, this is more comedy than...
Did you know that Bela Lugosi thought that character was supposed to be blind because he was blind in the movie before it? And so that's why he's waving his arms around like a fucking moron.
none of that.
It's pretty fucking ridiculous. I'm gonna watch it at some point for my continuing my binge. So,
and then I was about to put in Repo the Genetic Opera, and then
but somebody repossessed it.
No, I was fiddling around on Amazon Prime, and I was trying because I have a DVD of Repo. I was like, well, Prime might have the HD version,
right?
And of course, I started searching, and the keywords and everything. It brought up the next film that they did from Terrence.
Oh, Devil's Carnival.
The Devil's Carnival, and wow, it's just a kind of a steep step down,
right,
from Repo.
Well, it's not supposed to be just a film. It's supposed to be part of an experience that you do too.
I'm getting to that.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Sorry about that.
So the production design is amazing. It looks great.
Mm-hmm.
But story and music-wise, the music isn't nearly as catchy. And the story is the devil is going to wage war in hell, and there's all these scenes, what's it? Young Indiana Jones. What's his name?
Young Indiana Jones?
The guy who plays him. He's like a 3-word name.
Oh,
name.
I don't remember.
He was in the Saw movie. All right. Anyway, there's like 4 or 5 people, and they do bad things, and then they get
Sean Patrick Flannery?
Yeah, that's the guy.
Oh, okay. It took me a minute.
I think Alexa Vega was the other one.
Because she's been part of that whole crew for a while.
Yeah. But there are people who like do something bad or like questionable, and then the devil convinces them. I don't know. It's so confusing, and the music isn't as catchy. So, yeah. And then as it ends, I'm like, this didn't go anywhere. Like I just met like 4 or 5 people, and the devil's telling like storybook stories, and then on Prime it says then there's this other Devil's Carnival. I'm like, wait a minute. Like it almost has the same cover art, so you wouldn't know.
It's Alleluia, right?
It's Alleluia,
yeah.
The Devil's Carnival. So this is like Paul Sorvino plays the God, and so this is like
Sorry, that's a great idea.
Part 2 is like from his perspective, and the devil is like taking a train to throw souls to fight him. So that's confusing. And there's like a classroom where some rapper or something is doing. It's so I don't know what the story is other than like, and then it also ends. I'm like, oh my god, this is a trilogy. But the third one isn't out yet. And then I did some research, and Repo, the original movie, grossed like $8 million. Mm-hmm. Or no, it had a budget of $8 million, and it only grossed $127,000 or something, which is like
because they dumped it into nowhere.
Well, yeah, it was a road show where I saw it.
Yeah,
I never saw it like on a marquee anymore.
It had this strange limited engagement even before that too.
Yeah, but I didn't think I never looked up the gross before, so I was like, that seemed way low. Like I figured at least $1 million or something,
right?
Even with the road show. But yeah, 120. I was like, wow. So then I looked at the budgets of these 2 new ones, and they're like each 500. I mean, it feels like they're together $500,000, but they're listed on IMDb as
$500,000
alone.
each.
But I could see whereas like if they're doing a trilogy, the 500 is spread out across all 3. But it's just like they all look like they're shot in the same room with the sets switched out. The lighting is very colorful, but like single colorful. Like a lot of scenes are all red, or all yellow, or harshly red and yellow. The costumes are great, but yeah, I was just like, wow, this is just a 180 from the Repo that I enjoyed so much. Which had that like CGI Sin City style background stuff, and obviously with the lower budget, they can't do that.
Right.
So, there's some amazing things like the carnival itself, the backdrop with the stars and everything is all digital, but still like looks appropriate. But a lot of the interior stuff is very much like a haunted house set. So that was kind of disappointing. But I guess I'll watch the third one just to wrap it all up.
I like the
gets to it.
I like the idea of Paul Sorvino as God. God looks slow, but he knew how to handle it.
Also, a God who's like a total dick.
Shocker.
He's like really mean to everybody in the movie. Then I also watched Don't Breathe again, which I hadn't seen in a while, and that
Turkey Baster.
Yep, the Turkey Baster movie.
Yep.
And that's a pretty still great thriller.
It's always $9 at Best Buy, but I never pick it up. I don't know why. It's a good flick.
Yeah, it's got 8 deleted scenes.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the picture to sell it.
Yeah.
And then I also rewatched The Innkeepers, Ty West's, I think, second kind of. It's not his second film, but it's like his second when he was.
It's
in
his
horror
third.
phase.
I think it's his third film because the second one is that Cabin Fever 2.
Or House of the Devil.
Well, House of the Devil's the first one, and then Cabin Fever 2. They're both kind of like at the same time. But yeah, Innkeepers. It's clerks in a haunted hotel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Accurate.
Yeah, it's a very good film. I love it.
Yeah, as far as like ghost movies, it's pretty good. I think the only thing that's disappointing is like it's unsettling that. I guess I can't say that because I spoil it.
I've seen it.
Well, the people listening.
That's true. I guess that's true.
So
yeah.
I don't want to like. Again, it's Clerks, so it's a lot in a hotel, so it's a lot of just conversations. But the finale is different.
Yeah,
because
it's
movies.
well, yeah, because it's the thing that kind of throws you off the track. Yeah, I like it. Yeah, Ty West is a good filmmaker. The Sacrament is one of my favorites of his because
Really?
just
I never checked that one.
I love it because it's just so batshit crazy, and Gene Jones gives an incredible performance, man. And House of the Devil's fucking a masterpiece beyond
Yeah, it is the
question.
best one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I just watched something else, but I'm gonna say that's it.
All right. Cool. I went through a couple of things. I'm sorry. I was waiting for you to give me the cue.
No, the other thing is the movie this week. So yeah.
Yeah. No. So. All right. Cool. I watched a couple things. After we finished last week, I watched The Matrix Revolutions to finish that whole thing up. Again, I like the sequels just fine. Obviously they have their issues, but the
Well, you're wrong.
The bad stuff isn't outweighing the good stuff for me. I really enjoyed rewatching it this time. Not all the visual effects hold up, obviously, as I discussed last week, and although the rain in the final brawl between Smith and Neo is helping the CGI a little bit, but not too much. It makes it more like intriguing than the Burly Brawl in Reloaded, and I appreciated the idea that it manages to solve the issues of Reloaded with the whole concept of like, oh well, your hero's journey is pointless and whatnot, while not letting you off the hook in terms of like playing with your head a little bit. Like each of the films manages to play with your head to some degree or another. I will say that the bringing back the Frenchman, like the Frenchman's my least favorite character in that entire series of films, and I didn't really want him back for the third one, but I get it. They were having fun with that actor. Monica Bellucci as well was like big at that point too. So, but I think it's a fine capper to a trilogy that probably wouldn't have happened if the first Matrix had blown up as big as it did. I got Titanic on Blu-ray because it was like $9. I didn't rewatch the film, but I watched like all the special features on it, and I'm not like the biggest Titanic fan in the world. Although those visual effects were inspiring when I saw it as a young kid. Like I'm just like, oh, they're making that boat sink. That's fucking amazing. That with Star Wars was like kind of like the gate opener for film. But I didn't realize like the pop culture phenomenon that film was. Like I only saw it like glimpses of it because I was so young, but that shit was fucking crazy. Like they showed archive footage of all the people going into that theater and walking out like fucking like losing their goddamn minds. And then like they showed like how that song was such a big hit, the My Heart Will Go On by Celine Dion. Like I knew it was big, but I didn't like grasp it fully until I watched that documentary. And now granted, it's James Cameron approving all those DVD special features, so there's a little bit of self-service there, but I can look past it. Like, I mean, that movie is a visual and technical accomplishment beyond any question. I also watched the same kind of documentary for Avatar because I got interested, and that's just as impressive. I liked that he, in order to visualize the world of Avatar, he had to get he went with Weta Workshop to kind of create the history of the Na'vi and stuff like that. I'm gonna probably try and rewatch Avatar because I haven't seen it since theaters. I remember the second time I saw it, I was like, this wasn't as impressive as I thought it was the first time. But whatever, again, it's a technical achievement. I watched The Burning, which Ryan had loaned to me on Scream Factory, and that's a horror film. I hadn't seen it for a long ass time, and at the time I first saw it, I didn't pay attention to the fact of the credits, other than maybe Tom Savini. But that film is a film written and produced by the Weinstein Company, or the Weinstein brothers, before they made it big. And watching the film again, it's very apparent of what kind of guys they were. Like watching the special features, especially just because of like Tom Savini said, like they were like causing shit all over the place behind the scenes, and I'm like, well, like all the things are there for you to go like, oh, we should have probably saw this a fucking mile away. But the movie itself, it's a fine slasher flick. It's about a groundskeeper who's burned by some kids playing a prank, and then he seeks revenge with his shears. Jason Alexander's in it, and the whole time I just wanted the Cropsey to take off his take off any like mask he had on and rip off his scars and reveal that he's just Kramer, but that didn't happen, obviously. And Fisher Stevens is in it. He gets his fingers cut off, so it's a fun old time revisiting that flick. I had remembered the scene. There's a scene on a raft when they're trying to get help, and then the killer comes out and just kills all the kids on there, and that's how Fisher Stevens gets it. And like I remember that freaking me out when I first saw it. This time around, obviously, to this Blu-ray, you can see Savini's practical effects pretty clearly, and some of them hold up, not all of them do. There's one where a guy gets shears through his neck, and it doesn't. It's clear that he's got a prosthetic underneath, and then the head's just poking through a safe spot. But watching the interview of how he did it was pretty interesting, because my assumption is like, one false move and someone's dead. So that was the power of practical effects back then, to be sure. I rewatched also the documentary on the making of The Thing. That was pretty interesting. I've watched it several times, but I always kind of pick up something new from it each time. And then I'm trying to think. I don't think I saw anything else this week. Yeah, no, that's it, bud.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, I guess that
leads us to the review. This week, Brad saw Bad Times at the El Royale, the new Drew Goddard film.
It's such a bad idea, having me solo this movie.
Hey, there's a first time for everything. You know what? I'll play dumb.
I'm going to blow it.
Brad, should people go see Bad Times at the El Royale?
I don't know. I'm going to see it again because it's not the like witty Tarantino-esque Smoking Aces movie that I suspected it would be. It's actually more interesting than that. It's also not quite Cabin in the Woods.
Mm-hmm.
As it's not surprising.
It's not a big old mystery box.
Yeah, it's more of a movie that is fun to watch, but at the end you don't know what the point was,
okay.
Or if there is one, I'm too dumb to see it. So it's definitely interesting to watch because there's a lot of weird shit going on. But you might be turned off like I was. I wasn't sure why we went through this journey. So here's the trailer for Bad Times at the El Royale.
The El Royale is a bi-state establishment. You have the option to choose a room in either California or Nevada.
How'd you end up at the El Royale?
The Ritz-Carlton was booked.
This place used to be hustling and bustling. Old Dean Martin even sang a song about it once.
This is not a place for a priest, Father. You shouldn't be here.
We might need to work on your sales pitch, son. The El Royale, no place for a priest.
old heart of mine's been broke 1,000 times. Each time you break away, I think you're gonna stay. Lonely nights that come, memories that flow, bring
You watch me? I only watch who they tell me to watch. Who's they? Management.
Baby, it's my
Would you mind opening up the door?
No, I ain't gonna do that.
Each day that passes by.
We have to get as far away from him as possible.
Howdy. I'm not really a priest.
Yeah. No shit.
Wow. This is awkward because while that trailer was playing, I went to go see the movie. So
Yeah, that was crazy.
I know.
How did you fit a 2-hour movie into a 3-minute trailer?
Time is a construct, my friend. Hannibal Buress taught me that in the movie Tag.
It's true.
But we're not here to talk about Tag. We're here to talk about Bad Times at the El Royale. Drew Goddard's. I would call this a Quentin Tarantino movie, to a degree, but not really. It's certainly a mystery caper of some sorts. Yeah.
What'd you think?
Well, I would never discourage anyone from watching it. I think it's absolutely watchable. There's no denying that. My problem lies with the runtime a bit for this type of film. I don't know. I think that Drew Goddard did the right thing in terms of the way he spreads it out and tells the story, but there are moments where I'm just like, this is split up like a Quentin Tarantino movie. This is obviously a Tarantino homage, and I don't know if I was okay with that. I don't know, having just seen it after that 3-minute trailer.
How'd you do that? That was crazy.
You know what? I'm faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a Zod's neck breaker. No. I mean, again, the movie is immensely watchable, but I think the issue that we should talk about the plot for a minute.
Yeah, we're already in spoiler territory.
Yeah, so the plot is a priest, a singer, a salesman who's not a salesman, and a woman who may or may not have a woman kidnapped, all enter a motel where the bellboy, played by Lewis Pullman, takes them all to their rooms, and turns out that there's windows, two-way mirrors, in each room where management can see them. Then they can be recorded and then sent to management. So the whole basic premise is kind of like that voyeur documentary on Netflix, where they can look in the motel. The issue that I have in that regard is that they're trying to split up the stories of the different rooms and whatnot. I just don't think that you needed to split it up that way. I think it would have been easier to tell this story in a more traditional linear fashion without losing the style. But again, I like the way it was constructed and told because it was fun and interesting, and it holds the surprises it needs to hold until the very end. The Lewis Pullman character, which, by the way, Lewis Pullman knocks it out of the park in this film. I don't know if this is the first film he's done, but he is Bill Pullman's son, so he obviously has some chops from that side of the family. Or maybe it's not his. I didn't look up to see if it was his son, but
he looked like he could be.
Yeah, he could easily be a Lone Star's son. I'm just assuming because Pullman's such a name that it sticks out, you know. But yeah, no, his performance is fantastic, mainly because he starts off as kind of like the introduction to the hotel or the motel, and then you start learning things about him and his past, whether it's his heroin addiction or the fact that he was in Vietnam, and it all kind of plays well to his character. And so revealing the stuff about him the way he does in the film is perfect. Some of the other stuff, though, like in order to reveal more information as the story goes on, everything starts overlapping in that kind of interesting way. And it works for a minute, but then I just realized about, like, I want to say about an hour and 10 minutes in, I think I've seen John Hamm die like 5 times in like several different angles. So it got a little monotonous because of that, even though the angles were interesting and different and from a different perspective. I just felt like it was kind of like, okay, I get it. Move along. Whereas, and I'm going to be a little like anti-James on this one, like, whereas Hateful Eight, when it does that, doesn't like stoop in it. It kind of like, it moves forward while still getting that point across. And I think that this one kind of sits in itself a little too much in the wrong places. That being said, though, very interesting story. The trailer made it seem like it was like a mystery box movie, like a J.J. Abrams kind of a thing, or even a, like, well, what's in when I first saw the trailer for Cabin in the Woods, I was like, what the fuck's going on here? And then you watch the movie and you understand. With this one, the whole idea of management and whatnot is a pretty basic idea that has no other, like, real nefarious connotation to it other than they make movies of people doing illicit acts and then blackmail people with them. But there's a MacGuffin in the film involving a piece of film, which I liked how they kept saying, like, it doesn't matter what's on the film, and I'm like, yeah, it doesn't matter what's on the film, but they kept saying, oh, it's a dead important man, and I'm like, oh, JFK, okay, cool. So I mean, it's not that hard to figure out. I don't think, but I don't know. Like, you've seen it twice now. Did you take a minute to figure out who it was, or?
Oh yeah, spoiler. I snuck out and watched it with you.
Oh yeah, that's right.
What'd you ask?
Like, did you know that it was JFK on the film, or did it take you a minute to, like, or did it take you more than one viewing to understand that's what it was on the film?
Yeah, it took me the second viewing to figure it out, because at first I thought it was Nixon, because they have clips of him on the TV,
right?
In the movie. So, I was surprised. For the setup of what the hotel is, I didn't feel like they played with the California, Nevada, it's even in the trailer, it makes it seem like, our location has this unique thing of half of it's this, but right away when they're selecting rooms, all the California ones are not available, so everything mostly takes place in Nevada side. It's like, why would you set up this, unique special location and then not utilize it in a creative way, which I found odd.
It could be representative of the fact that hotel itself has been mismanaged and misrun over the years because of the Miles character and his addiction. Because it seems like he literally is the only person running in that motel right now since it has been.
Well, yeah, they say because they lost their liquor license
or their gaming license,
in the gaming license that pretty much. You can do one thing on one side and then food and stuff on the other.
Yeah, you can drink on the California side, but you can't drink on the Nevada side.
But as far as the whole money and murder mystery stuff, I figured that would have figured into it a little more.
It would have been an interesting jurisdiction twist.
Yeah.
I like the John Hamm character at the beginning, but he is literally only in it for like the beginning and then the 5 times you see him get shot by Dakota Johnson. I kind of wanted more with him. I really wanted to know, like, I obviously he's working for the FBI, and like he's talking to Hoover, but what was he there for? Like,
he was there to retrieve the JFK evidence.
Right. Okay. So he's there to do that and whatnot. Okay, but then, yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. Never mind.
Yeah.
Again, this movie's really long, so like when John Hamm goes away finally. Everybody else takes precedence. So, like, John Hamm's your red herring on top of the whole film being a MacGuffin in general, because we haven't even talked about Chris Hemsworth, by the way, because he enters the picture as a demented cult leader who's coming back for the girl that was kidnapped by Dakota Johnson. his character's pretty fucking interesting. The scene where he's with his cult and doing the little making the two fight each other for his affection is like it's messed up and all kinds of wacky, but like he's really good in that moment. And like
it's supposed to be a statement on the oligarchy.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, and I'd be curious to know how much of this film is trying to say something, because the only pre-production-y kind of thing I know about this is that Drew Goddard wrote this pretty quickly after the election. And that's not to say it has to have some sort of importance, but it feels like it's trying to say something that I don't know if it's super, super clear.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the message of the movie is.
Other than, I guess, like, everyone's caught in their own personal hell, and then eventually it all becomes the main hell. I don't know. Like, I mean, the motel burning up at the end has to mean something. Like, again, like, and this is just after a first viewing, because, I mean, I'd like to watch it again. I think my issue also is that, like, I have to make time for this film, which is not a problem. I do that for, like, Hateful Eight or, like, an epic film. Like,
it's about as long as First Man, which I saw again today.
Right, but, like, I have to sit with it, you know? Whereas First Man, as slowish as it is, it captures your attention, I think, a little bit better than this film.
Yeah.
But I would be curious to watch it again and kind of just consider it from every angle that I possibly can, because, like, first impressions are tricky. I'm more than willing to admit that I was wrong in a later episode. So.
Yeah, actually, the stuff that I missed the first time, the scenes that I wasn't in the room for, actually did fill in the gaps a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
Especially that first time Jeff Bridges gets hit with the bottle.
Mm-hmm.
I was surprised I jumped because I knew it was coming, but then I realized that it was a different angle that I didn't get to see the first time around.
Right.
Because I was waiting for the shot of her to recognize that her drink is getting spiked.
Yeah. Oh shit. Then that
and that doesn't come the first time around. It comes in the second time.
Yeah.
She does it. So.
And that shit did make me jump too.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh god. Yeah. And but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I will applaud Drew Goddard for making a film that original and that unique, and getting a big release for it out in the middle of the fucking, like, October month. And I don't know how.
I don't think he gets to decide that, but yeah.
What?
I don't think he gets to decide when it's distributed.
Right, but, like, still, regardless, you know, he gets it distributed, like, in a wide platform. So it's pretty unique, and I would definitely recommend anyone go see it. I mean, it's certainly better than Venom, you know. You know, most things are. But anyway,
so says you.
Venom.
So I guess next week we're going to see Halloween.
Yes, we're going to go back to Haddonfield and face our fate when we see David Gordon Green's Halloween. I've already seen it twice, guys. So I'm probably going to go see it 2 more times, and then I'll talk about every angle. I wrote a 50-page essay for each frame of that film, so strap in for like a 2,700-hour podcast.
So Zach's going to be the only one on that podcast next week. I'm going to take it off.
Spoilers also, it's not a podcast anymore. It's now a book for audible.com.
It's now a college thesis.
Yeah, exactly.
And if Ryan can't make it again, then we'll just go see Johnny English, I guess.
It's Johnny English. We just keep pushing it off, like, one day we'll review Halloween.
Yeah.
Zach died that year.
Zach died waiting for the review.
Well, until next week, guys. Thanks for listening to Real Nerd Podcast. Have a good night.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Real Nerds Podcast. Real Nerds Podcast is a production of Nebulous Visions Multimedia. Thank you to Sparks Mandrill and Plan 9 Studios for our kick-ass theme song. Also, if you're in the Denver area and you're looking for a cool place to see movies, we see them at the Alamo Draft House in Littleton and now also in Sloan's Lake. Thank you to Colorado Coins, Cards, and Comics for supplying us with all our comic needs, especially you, Andrew. You know who you are. And a big shout out to James's mom. I'm giving you an electronic hug that you can feel through the airwaves. Thanks for listening, and have a nice day.